Hello there, how are you guys doing? Welcome as always back to Rule of Two Review, and man, do we have some pretty interesting news to talk about. So a pretty big surprise happened today, as it turns out that randomly, it's confirmed that on Thursday, April 6th, which is 2 days from now, it is April 4th today, 2017, the Xbox Scorpio of all things is going to be officially revealed to the world. Now, this is going to happen apparently at Digital Foundry, which a lot of you may know. Digital Foundry is actually a YouTube channel and website, I think even put together by Eurogamer or owned by Eurogamer. We all, of course, are very familiar with them nowadays, the way the last year in video games and Nintendo news played out. I don't 100% know that, so don't quote me. I saw or read something somewhere that basically said that. But long story short, Digital Foundry, a very interesting and pretty well put together YouTube channel with a bunch of very smart tech experts who are very proficient at breaking down the technology inside of all sorts of pieces of hardware, usually gaming hardware, game consoles, PCs, portables, things like that. They do a lot of frame rate tests and benchmark tests on PCs and stuff, and it's not really like my thing, but I do know that there's a huge market for it, and they're really good at that stuff, and whenever I have a reason to check out one of their videos, I'm always super entertained. And now all of a sudden, it was confirmed today that Digital Foundry will actually be the ones officially revealing the Xbox Scorpio this coming Thursday, in 2 freaking days. So, man, there's so much to talk about really quickly with this. It's obviously insane and surprising that the Xbox Scorpio, we finally have the reveal date. And it's insane that it's only 2 days from now. The fact that they announced it the same week they're going to reveal it is really crazy. And the fact that it's Digital Foundry that apparently is breaking this scoop and showing it off to the world. A lot of weird things going on there. So I just wanted to quickly touch base about the fact that it's happening and share my super fast thoughts. So ultimately, this is pretty cool, you guys. I'm really interested to see what the Scorpio is. As a huge, hardcore, dedicated gamer who loves all of the manufacturers and all of the companies and all games, not just Nintendo stuff, but you know this if you know me. I love my PlayStation and Xbox. I think the PC market is great. And it's really interesting to me that a brand new piece of hardware is about to be revealed. Now, I do have higher hopes for the reveal of the Scorpio than I did the way the PlayStation 4 Pro thing played out, because that should have also been very exciting, but we all know that the delivery ultimately fell flat from Sony. With the Scorpio, I'm really hoping that we're going to get something a little bit more substantial and exciting, and just feel like a better presentation that's actually showing off what the Scorpio is, and also it is going to depend on what the Scorpio does turn out to be. So there's a lot of factors to consider there, but, you know, going into it right now, while it's still a pretty big mystery, I want to be excited. I always am excited when brand new hardware is coming out, so let's see if this turns out to be what we actually want it to be. Of course, that is the real missing link to this whole scenario, though, is what the Scorpio is going to truly turn out to be. And this is very fortuitous timing, because just last week I made a couple of videos discussing the Scorpio, and even a few weeks before that, I made even another one. So it's definitely been on my mind, and I've touched base about it on Rule of Two Review over the course of the last couple of weeks. I actually seem to get a pretty solid response from people. People really seem to be interested in the topic of the Xbox Scorpio. So, you know, this is going to be a big deal that they're showing it off. Now, I will, of course, remind you guys, last thing, before we go into this reveal on Thursday, I do feel like the Scorpio is ultimately going to be something that becomes Microsoft's new next-generation console. I think that initially, they're planning on not leaving Xbox One gamers behind, and it's going to do the Xbox One and Scorpio thing, so it's going to sort of be like a PS4 Pro, even though we know it's supposed to be quite a bit more powerful than the Pro. But at the end of the day, my feelings, if you haven't seen them yet on a previous video, are that I think eventually we're going to learn that the power is so significant in the Scorpio that it will be impossible for them not to leave Xbox One backwards compatible games behind within a couple of years. 1 to 2 to maybe 3 years after the launch of the Scorpio. I do believe that's going to happen. That being said, I'm prepared for that not to be true, and I do recognize that, hey, this could really just be an Xbox One Pro. Apparently, there's a rumored name of Xbox One X, so that's going to be really interesting if that actually happens. Regardless of the name, it definitely could be the exact equivalent of what a Pro is, and it's really just making everything 4K and improving some resolution and doing some cool new things with some lighting and visuals and whatever. And it could be that, and a lot of people seem to think that, because whenever I say it, I think it might be more. Some people, a very small amount, but a very vocal amount, lose their shit. They lose their mind at the idea of that being true. And it's like, you know, Microsoft and Phil Spencer have said some things. Some of them feel like they're going to be true. Some of them feel like they're not going to be true. Maybe everything they said hasn't been completely honest. but maybe it also has. I'm not here to be prophetic. I'm here to just share what my gut feeling tells me. I think it's going to be more powerful than we expect, and we'll move on from the Xbox One eventually, but my gut feeling could be wrong, and that's why I'm excited to learn what it is. The fact that it's coming from Digital Foundry is strange, you guys. I mean, what is that about? Like, why would it not be, you know, even something like an IGN? Why wouldn't it be their own press conference the way they did the Xbox One? Why wouldn't they just wait till E3 altogether? I feel like maybe Digital Foundry is going to do just a couple of small presentations, probably with some Microsoft people there, and they're going to touch on maybe some of the most bare essential basics, but the big stuff will come at E3. And if that happens, we may or may not have enough information after Thursday to determine how much this feels like a next generation machine or how much it feels like just an Xbox Pro with just a minor upgrade. I mean, we may have those answers come Thursday, but we probably won't. So I'm expecting from Digital Foundry not a whole lot. I mean, maybe this is really just like a 15-minute video they upload that just shows what it looks like, talks to a couple of developers. It's got all these teraflops and things are going to look great once it comes out. We'll share more at E3. The end. I mean, it really could be that. It's going to be very interesting to see. And even if it turns out to be the lamest thing in the world, I had a chat with some of the podcast guys earlier today about this. If it turns out to be lame, so what? I mean, what are you going to do? Then big deal, it's lame, and it doesn't matter that Digital Foundry is revealing it. But it's still great to be excited about the prospect while we don't know. While it's a mystery, and while the possibility exists that it turns out to be great and blows our mind, let's be excited for it. It's only 48 hours from now. Let's enjoy the excitement for now until we find out if it's the coolest thing ever or if it's the dumbest thing ever. And to me, there's just a 50-50 chance that that is what's going to happen this Thursday. Also, I don't typically do more than one news story in a video. I used to try to do that a little bit more often, but I've noticed it's just not really what I'm good at, and people don't really seem to love it. However, there was another big thing that happened today that I do want to talk about, so I figured screw it. I'll just add another couple of minutes at the end of this video and discuss a game that a lot of us were looking forward to that finally had reviews start to hit today, and that is Yooka-Laylee, the crowdfunded, kickstarting smash game from Playtonic Studios that everyone was really excited for. I am so pumped for this game. I love the old school Rare guys. I grew up on those guys, and I think that the Banjo-Kazooie era of games are just so fantastic, and I want this to be that. It's a very exciting time knowing that this game is coming, and it's trying to kind of play on the nostalgia the way other previous games that maybe weren't very successful have tried to do, and Bloodstained coming up in the next year is also trying to do the same thing. I want to believe in Yooka-Laylee. However, the reviews that have hit today are not so hot, and it's a big shock. It's a big downer. Everyone's feeling pretty disappointed. The Metacritic is, as you see here, right now it's sitting at a 67, the PlayStation 4 version with, I don't have the exact numbers here, I think there's anywhere between like 20 and 40 reviews, so a fairly significant number. You know, this isn't like, 7 reviews saying it's a 67. It's a pretty good amount. And, it's a bummer, you guys. I think that it's definitely a shame to see. And it definitely reminds me of many of the reasons why I have said I will never crowdfund a game. I've never crowdfunded a game. I haven't ever really liked the idea of it. It's always felt just a little bit strange and not how I think games should be made or should be developed and how publishers and developers should exchange money to create games. I do understand the actual value, and I've said there is one game ever that I would crowdfund if it was announced for a crowdfunding campaign, and that is Beyond Good and Evil 2. I don't think we're going to have to do that, but let's say that that's what happened tomorrow. I'd be like, okay, you finally got me the one game I will give money to beforehand. But in general, I've never liked the idea. This last 5-6 years as it's taken off, and with Mighty No. 9 being a debacle last year, and Yooka-Laylee doesn't seem to be a debacle yet, and none of the gamers have gotten their hands on it, but this doesn't bode very well, and it's very, very disappointing to see. Now, I will say, right now, with the 67 on Metacritic and my excitement for it, I feel like I'm still invested, and I'm still excited enough to say, okay, I plan on picking this game up. 67, while not very good, isn't yet a train wreck in my eyes, and I'm also someone who's waiting for the Switch version, assuming the Switch version remains the same price. So what I'm going to wait to do is see if when the Switch version finally gets its date, hopefully in a month or two, and when we see reviews come out for that, if the reviews for the Switch version are lower than like a 60, then I'm going nowhere near this game. If they're as good as what we see on PS4, I'll pick up the Switch version. Maybe I'll consider picking up like the PS4 or Xbox One version if they improve it and if it seems significantly better than the Switch version. But right now, I just want to believe in that version. I just gotta say, you guys, it's pretty disappointing. And, you know, the crowdfunding thing, I get why it's exciting and it started to take off the last few years, but it never felt good to me. And the way the last few big, high-profile kickstarted games have played out now with Yooka-Laylee, which, God, I want to be so good so badly, I just can't really think of anything positive to say about crowdfunding games. So that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. Two quick but pretty big news stories. The Xbox Scorpio, man. Holy cow. What is going to happen this Thursday, man? Do you guys think the Scorpio is going to be really impressive? Do you think it's going to be totally underwhelming? Do you think we're not going to get enough information on Thursday and E3 is going to have to be the real info? Why is Digital Foundry the ones even showing it off? I mean, what's going on there? And then, of course, what do you think about Yooka-Laylee? Are you still excited? Was your hype destroyed? What platform are you going to pick it up for if you're still planning on picking it up? What do you think about the crowdfunding thing and how it seems to be kind of falling apart a little bit over the course of the last year or so? Very interesting stuff going on, but a lot of fun to talk about. I always love and enjoy talking about it with you guys. So, of course, tell me what you think about these two big pieces of news. I look forward to talking to you about the Scorpio after it's revealed. But until then, thanks for tuning in. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, guys, and I will see you all next time on another video.